Hi guys, and welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it so very much. Welcome, my name is Aiden. I am so happy that you're here. Today is a coffee scented fragrance video. So every fragrance in here has the note of coffee in it. And I decided to not include Black Opium because I did do an entire video on Black Opium and how I would rank all of the fragrances. It would be listed up above, one side or the other. I will include Black Opium Illicit Green because I got that one after I did that, but I'm going to save that one for the end because I really wanted to focus on fragrances that aren't Black Opium because I think that's kind of the go-to when people think of a fragrance with coffee. It's Black Opium, and I do have 6 of those, so I didn't want to spend half of the video on Black Opium, especially because I've already talked about all of the fragrances. So I will have that one linked up above if you really want to know about Black Opium. If you're interested in other coffee notes though, I have some obvious ones. I have some ones that I don't think people think about quite as much. So stay tuned. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done that already. And let me know what your favorite coffee scented fragrances are, which ones have a coffee note in them. I would love to know. We're going to start with one that I don't necessarily think of as a coffee scent immediately, and that is Jimmy Choo Fever. This is very much, I feel like, a fall. Oh my goodness, I'm getting a leak on it. Can you see that? Oh. Anyway, I really enjoy this fragrance. I wear this quite a bit. I know you can't really see the dent in there, but it is there because I do wear this one. Oh, it's so good. This is not one that I immediately thought of as a coffee scent. It was when I went through Fragrantica and I was kind of going by note and I was like, wait, oh, that's not what I was thinking. So that's why part of what inspired me to do this video. So this was created in 2018. I think I bought it probably 2019. I got it pretty and not immediately after it came out, but pretty darn close. So top notes are plum, lychee, and grapefruit. Middle notes are heliotrope, vanilla orchid, jasmine, and orange blossom. Base notes are tonka bean, vanilla, benzoin, coffee, hazelnut, and sandalwood. So you have a lot of good notes in there. Tonka bean is another note that I really enjoy. But this, to me, immediately brings to mind plum. But now that I'm trying to smell it a little bit, looking for that coffee, I'm definitely getting the coffee and the tonka bean. It's settling down there at the bottom. So this is not an obvious coffee fragrance to me. At first I get just rich fruits. Like plum to me is such a rich scent. It's not fresh or, I mean, it smells so good. It has a slight sweetness to it, but it has more depth to it, if that makes sense. And then the base with the vanilla and the tonka bean was something that I've always really enjoyed. And having that coffee, like thinking about the coffee being in there now, I'm like, yeah, I'm getting the coffee. I'm getting a little bit of the hazelnut. So it's not really a Nutella type of vibe because tonka bean can have some chocolatey qualities to me. But it's rich. It's such a rich fragrance. This is one of my favorite fall and winter fragrances, and I do wear it quite a bit. It's so good. If you like plums and you like coffee and you like tonka bean, this is one that I highly recommend. You can find this, I've got this one on Zulily for a really good deal, but I know that it's like at Macy's and regular retailers too. So this should be pretty easy to find, and it's one, this is probably going to be my top recommendation from the whole video. I love this. This is one of my just favorite fragrances. Next up, we have Dolce & Gabbana, the only one. This one is pretty obvious as a chocolate note. People compare this to Black Opium. I've heard it quite a few times. And I know people who have decluttered one or the other because they feel like they're close enough. I find them very, very different. This one has such a different vibe. This is also a fragrance that has gotten me compliments. I don't get a lot of compliments, but this is one fragrance that does. My dance students who were like junior high, grade school age, no, none of them were high school. They were like, you smell so good. And then they were like, she does. And then they were really funny. They would grab my wrist and like, we're smelling, because they really enjoyed this. I've also had coworkers who were like, what are you wearing? Because they would walk by my cubicle kind of area and they were like, you smell so good. So it's this one. This is the one. All of that was pre-masking all the time though. So hopefully I'll start getting compliments again if people are not wearing masks. So let me give you the notes and then tell you what I get from it. So our top notes are violet, orange, and bergamot. Middle notes are coffee, pear, iris, orange blossom, and rose. Base notes are caramel, vanilla, and patchouli. I definitely get a powderiness to this. The iris, the violet in here, give it this powdery quality, but there's also like the citrus I get in here too. So it's kind of like a citrus powdery coffee, if that makes sense. Like I get the coffee note in here, but it's like a citrus coffee. If you know what I mean, like one that's been roasted. The roast is a citrus roast, and then it has that powder in there too. It is so good. Oh my gosh. Just, oh, this is making me like want to drink myself in it, even though this is not one I would wear in the warmer weather. It's still a little warm for me to wear this. I want it to be like the 60s, 50s, 60s, that range of weather, not like 70s would be kind of pushing it. Definitely not 80s or 90s. It's so good. I really recommend this one if you like a slightly powdery fragrance. I'm not a huge powdery fragrance lover, but this one I really enjoy. I got this in a Sephora favorite set, and this was the fragrance that I chose out of it because I got, like I said, got some compliments on it and really enjoyed how it smelled. So yes, that is Dolce & Gabbana, the only one. And then just to confuse things, in 2019, they put out the only one too. There's also the only one Intense, which I don't have. This one I found on sale for like $40 on Macy's. It was a one-day sale. And I was like, okay, it's gigantic. I don't need this much. This is a 3.3 or 100 ml. I don't need a 100 ml fragrance by any means. But it was, like I said, $40. So the notes in this, our top notes are blackberry, red berries, pear, and freesia. Middle notes are red rose, coffee, and violet. Base notes are tonka bean, patchouli, ambergris, and amberwood. This one, what's most prominent to me are the berry notes. I do get a little bit of the coffee, and I get a little bit of like the violet adding a little bit of powderiness to it, but it's definitely a more rich type of a scent. Those berries really, they're beautiful. And I'm getting the vanilla too. The berries mixed with the red rose and the tonka bean give it like this rich kind of creamy quality. It's very pretty, but it's not... This one needs to be even cooler weather than the only one. Now, the more I'm smelling it, I'm liking it more and more. It's mellowing out. Those berries are really strong at first spray, and then they kind of mellow out a little bit, which is good. But I like the powderiness of the original one just a little bit more. And of course, these are, the only one is a flanker of the one, so it gets confusing. But this one is nice if you want something that's more berry with just a little coffee in the background. This is more that. I feel like this is almost trying to copy Fever a little bit with a little bit more prominent coffee. I feel like the coffee's a little more prominent in this than in Fever. But like they both have that same type of rich, fruity quality to them. It's pretty, and I need to wear this one more because I kind of ignore it because it's just there. But yeah, it's nice, but not my favorite coffee. All right, we have this one from Atelier Cologne. This is Café Tuberosa. This I actually got with Sephora points. Back in the day, they had like things like this that you could get, and I redeemed a lot of points for this. It came with the leather case. It has a little embroidered on it. It says Endless Love, and this is what it looks like. It's just the little 1 ounce. And unfortunately, Atelier colognes are no longer being sold in North America, which makes me very sad. You probably can still get them. It's just going to be harder. They're not at regular retailers. They might show up in some gray market sites if there's like leftovers or anything. But yeah, they're a little harder to find. I do like that the little case like just adds a little bit to it because they do have pretty simplistic packaging otherwise. This is probably the strongest of all of the fragrances. It's also the only one that's marketed as unisex. The rest are all marketed as female fragrances. So keep those two things in mind. It's very strong. It is off-putting to me on first spray. I'm like, whew, that's why I have so much of it, because I never wear this one. Am I the only one that if you get too strong of scents that your throat starts getting like, just me? This one is strong. The coffee is very strong. It is very much like the ground coffee, like, I don't know, like, I feel like it smells like coffee grounds, like slightly wet. Let me give you the notes because, oh my gosh. We have Guatemalan cardamom. That could be it. I'm not a big cardamom fan too. Calabrian bergamot, Sicilian mandarin. Middle notes are coffee, Indian tuberose, and rose oil. Base notes are cacao powder and Madagascar vanilla. I don't get the vanilla in this whatsoever. Like, there is no creamy sweetness from vanilla. No. This has no creaminess to it at all. It's like if you took the only one and you pulled out, but like that coffee scent that you get from the only one, and you just like put it on, like get rid of the powderiness, get rid of the citrus, and just like make it full on, and then add, it's like intense. It's too much for me. It is not one that I reach for. I think maybe if you could like do one spray of this and then layer it with some of the other ones, it would really amp up the coffee note in some of those other ones. But this is not one that I would wear on its own because it's too strong. It's too in your face. I don't want to say it's stark because it doesn't smell stark, but it's just it stands out a lot. And that's just not what I go for in fragrances. There is like I feel like the tuberose is a little bit more medicinal in here. It's not like the sweet bubblegummy tuberose. It's just so weird. Yeah, if you want something, we're gonna put that away because, whoo, starting to give me a little bit of a headache. This is one that, yes, very sparingly, just a little bit, way stronger than most of the Ateliers. Like usually the ones I go for are all the citrusy ones, so they're pretty mellow. This one, this is a powerhouse. So if you want something really strong coffee with some strong florals in there that play well with the coffee, they're not like competing or smell like florals. That's this one. We're going with a very different end. We're going with Britney Spears' Prerogative. This one I picked up in a set of 3 or 4 at Kohl's. It was over the holiday. They were on sale. It was like $30, I want to say, anyway, they ended up being about $10 per ounce, which is not bad. This one came out in 2018. This is also considered a unisex fragrance. The top notes are apricot, goji berries, and pink pepper. Middle notes are coffee, saffron, and red lily. Base notes are sandalwood and amberwood. This one is so much lighter, so much sweeter to me. I'm really getting, I don't want to say it smells like apricot because it doesn't smell like apricot to me, but there is a sweetness to it, like a very pretty sweetness. Maybe it does smell like apricot jam just a little bit, but it's definitely like it has that sweetness to it. The coffee is very light in this one. This is one that I feel like could be worn year round. It's going to be very light in winter, but in summer it's light enough that even though it has coffee in it and stuff, it's light enough that even in the heat it would play well. And it's also one of the only ones that has saffron in it that I find pleasant. Like, I find this a very pleasant type of a fragrance. Usually there's something that just is off-putting about the other fragrances I've smelled with saffron. Not that I've actually smelled like saffron in its like So it could be something else. It could be, or it could be the mix of things. But I think this one is very pretty. Very light. The coffee is very light in there. It smells more sweet to me with that sandalwood, like a creamy sweetness is mostly what I get from this. So definitely the exact opposite of the spectrum from Café Tuberosa, Britney Spears' Prerogative. This one is definitely not one that you hear about much on here. This is Nina Ricci Les Monstres de Nina. And this one I just featured in my cotton candy video. So not one that you would think of as a necessarily coffee scent. Let me tell you the notes. So this one was created in 2018. The top notes are pear, cassis, bergamot, and lemon. Middle notes are cotton candy, apple, peony, rose, and jasmine. Base notes are praline, coffee, vanilla, and coumarin. I don't really get the coffee in here. I get the fruits in here. Like it smells kind of like a fruit. I don't want to say sangria, but like if you took a whole bunch of fruits and just let them kind of mellow together in a juice, like, and not a sweet juice, but it's not a wine type of a juice, but it's not like an orange juice. Maybe if you had like a green apple type of a juice and you just soaked other fruits in it. That's the scent. It's not like apple cider. It's not like apple juice that you buy normally. It's like there's a tartness to it. So you mix those, you throw on some florals in there. I don't get the coffee from this one. It's so far down there. There's so many other bright, fruity. This is definitely a bright type of a scent to me. I wish I got the coffee from this because I think this is an awesome scent and I really enjoy it. It's funny because it's like the cotton candy's in here and like, yeah, there's some sweetness to it, but it's not necessarily like a cotton candy type of a scent to me. I think this one is really nice, but if you're looking for a coffee one, not recommended. But if you just want something fruity but not like sickly sweet, this one is a nice one. I recommend like getting this one. It's not for the coffee note. Next up we have Carolina Herrera, Good Girl. This is kind of became an instant kind of a hit, both because of the bottle, but also the scent. It's been a while since I sprayed this one. The last time I sprayed this, I sprayed it in my mouth. This time I sprayed it over here. My poor light is probably covered in perfume. It drifted back towards me. I could taste it. It does not taste good. Let me just tell you that now. Not into the Good Girl for the taste. Not at all. Let's give some of the notes. So this came out in 2016. 2016, really? Wow. Okay. Well, I guess that makes sense because I have so many of the limited edition bottles in here. This is not my favorite fragrance. Do I have like 6 of these? Probably, because I love the bottle. Like, oh my gosh. Plus, my mom started collecting them for me, so that's why I get them. So our top notes are almond, coffee, bergamot, and lemon. Middle notes are tuberose, jasmine, sambac, orange blossom, orris, and Bulgarian rose. Base notes are tonka bean, cacao, vanilla, praline, sandalwood, musk, amber, cashmere wood, cinnamon, patchouli, and cedar. This has so many notes in it. Just a ridiculous amount of notes. There's a lot going on in this fragrance. It's a bit much, but it's pretty. I don't know, like, I think it's funny that it's called Good Girl because I feel like this is like a very bossy type of fragrance. Like, this is what, if you were in charge, this is the type of fragrance that you would wear. It's one that I don't gravitate towards because of that, because I like something much lighter usually. Although I feel like I'm slightly anosmic to it because I know it's really strong, and I know it's really strong when I wear it, but on the strip, I'm not smelling it too much. I got a lot more of it just in the air. I do think it has some coffee qualities to it. It's kind of like if you took, we're going to go back to the only one. It reminds me of the only one, but like super amped up and get rid of that powderiness to it. It's like just full on floral and spicy, but not like overly spicy, but like there's florals, there's spices, and there's, you know, you get a lot of those dark notes. So you get the patchouli, you get the amber, you get the cacao. Those are in there. The coffee is not the most prominent. Like the coffee's kind of there, but it doesn't smell, it's not a prominent note to me. It's kind of like, it's just in there with all of those other notes, like the kind of blends in with the tonka and the patchouli. Those just blend together to me, even though they're different. They're in different parts of the fragrance. It's okay. It's not my favorite. I like some of the flankers of this actually better than the original, but I do love the Choo. Last fragrance we are going to talk about today. This is the one exception to Black Opium. So I haven't talked about Black Opium Illicit Green, so I wanted to talk about it. It does have the cool green in it. And does it smell like coffee, or is it less, are other things overpowering it? And I'll tell you where I would rank it, like top or bottom of my Black Opium ranking, because like I said, I didn't have this one when I did that video. So this one came out this year in 2022. The notes are fig leaf, pear, and green mandarin. Middle notes are fig, orange blossom, and jasmine. Base notes are bourbon, vanilla, coffee, and patchouli. I definitely get the coffee in here. I get the coffee so much more strongly than in Black Opium. To me, Black Opium, the orange blossom kind of overpowers it a little bit. I get the vanilla in here too. And to me, this is like a sweeter version of Black Opium, but it's kind of like, it has the coffeeness of Black Opium, but the creaminess of like Nuit Blanche, but with a citrus, not citrus, but with like a fruitiness to it. I think this one is awesome. This might be my favorite. This is definitely top 3 along with Nuit Blanche and Intense. I really, really enjoy this one. So yes, if you want something coffee, but with the, like a little bit of fruitiness, that fig, but it's like, fig is such an awesome note because it's kind of, it's slightly tart in its scent notes. I really enjoy the fragrances I have with fig, and this just like adds a little something to that vanilla and coffeeness. It's creamy. It's slightly sweet, but it also has some depth to it. So yeah, really enjoy this one. Highly recommend Illicit Green. I think it is one of the best ones that YSL has put out. Yeah, it's really good. I really enjoy it. Okay, that is it for my fragrances with coffee. Like I said, there are many flankers of Black Opium that do have coffee in them too. So if you're interested in that video, it was linked up above. It will also be down in the description box. Let me know what fragrances that you really enjoy with coffee. Let me know what your thoughts are on these if you have any of them. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I can't wait to talk to you next time. Bye.